Hello and welcome to my channel. It is once again time to upgrade my computer. This time I went with the Lenovo Legion desktop. This features a 13th gen Intel i9 processor, GeForce RTX NVIDIA 4080 GPU, 32 gigs of RAM, water cooling, and lots of RGB. On the front here, there's a couple of ports, USB ports, and the power plug. And on the back, there's more USB connectivity, HDMI ports. This computer seems to be a really good buy for about the $2,000 range. You're getting one of the best processors in the market, as well as one of the best GPUs. One note is that the RAM does look like it's a cheaper version of RAM, but 32 gigs is more than you need for gaming, and that's upgradable. It also comes with a 1 terabyte SSD M.2, which you can also upgrade. There should be 3 M.2 ports, as well as upgradability for SSDs and HDDs. And this is what I'm upgrading from. This is the Alienware M15 R3, I believe it is. It's been a really good laptop for me. Major issues that I've had, there haven't been a lot of major issues, but I do have a fan that seems to be going out that I need to replace. It causes some boot up errors sometimes. As far as benchmarking these goes, turn that way down. Here's the new computer, the Lenovo Legion, averaging 165 frames per second on Far Cry 5. Now I believe this is on regular settings. We'll see at the end here. So yeah, that was in high graphics quality, resolution scale 1 versus, now I believe this is max settings on the laptop. It starts out okay, averaging 40 frames per second, but it drops pretty bad right about here to near unplayability. There was a significant drop to 8 frames per second there for a second. Okay, so that was resolution scale of 2, ultra settings on the laptop. Pretty unplayable. Now this should be similar settings on the new desktop. You see we're not getting over 100 frames per second now, but this is very playable. We're barely dropping below 60 frames per second. This is in ultra settings with resolution scale turned up to 2. This is of course the NVIDIA RTX 4080 GPU. Desktop version. Okay, and this is the score. Ultra settings, ultra scale of 2. Alright, and then let's look at the laptop. So this should be pretty regular settings. This is where you'd want to play this one more. Already starting off around the 30 frames per second, but we're holding pretty solid. About here is where it dropped to 8 frames per second before. Still playable. 27 frames per second minimum. And this is the RTX 2070 Super graphics card that I have in this laptop. So it's a couple generations and one level lower than the desktop GPU that I have, which also pulls more power. And then you can see with the resolution scale of 1, normal settings, it was playable on the laptop. Let's take a look at how big that graphics card is. That RTX 4080 barely fits in the case. And the 4090 is supposed to be even bigger. I can't even imagine. It's ridiculously overpriced though, and with 24 gigs of VRAM, you'll never touch that. This has got 16 gigs of VRAM, DDR6. That's pretty good. As far as upgradability goes, the CPU is the highest class i9 of the last gen, 13th gen processors, but it still uses the LGA 1700 CPU socket. So in the future I can upgrade that to the 14th gen if I feel necessary. The RAM is probably the one thing that I will upgrade, the RAM and the memory. Memory and storage are the two things that I would upgrade on this. I'm looking to upgrade both of those with more M.2s and more more RAM. This 32 gigs of RAM is plenty for gaming. However, I do a lot of video editing, and so 64 gigs is going to be a lot better for me. And also I want to get some more RAM with more RGB. I think it'll look good in there.